Hello, I've just come on here to talk to you about the word gross. You'll have to excuse the way I look today, although I have just had a facial, which was lovely. Gross. Often, when I talk about the reusable period pads, or I hear other people talking about them, the word gross comes up quite a lot. And if I'm completely honest, a few years ago, before I had even started using them, I would have been completely grossed out myself. In fact, I remember when my friend Gemma started talking about them to me, and I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? Like, you can buy that stuff. You don't need to wash it out. Just go and buy new ones. And then she done a bit of a number on me and sold the idea to me, and I went over to reusable pads, and I've used them ever since. And the initial, when you first start using them, it's pretty alien to have to deal with your own period blood. And can feel a bit gross and a bit ick. But I just yesterday or the other day on Instagram here, I asked people to share a poll on their stories about asking their audiences, would you use reusable period pads? And one of the options was, yeah, why not, or whatever. And the other one was, ooh, it's gross, or ooh, no. And I just found it really interesting because whilst I can completely relate to that as a response to reusable period pads, when you think of the word gross in terms of what the disposables do, my whole viewpoint now is that disposables are actually gross, and my own reusable period pads are really totally inoffensive. So it's funny how even my mindset has completely changed from reusables to being gross to now disposables are like the devil's work for me. This is why, because once I started the process of designing my own pads and really started looking into marketing such a product to the mainstream, I set myself the biggest challenge. I was like, I'm not going to go in for the eco warriors who are using cotton in their pants as a wadding for their periods. I'm going to hit the mainstream women that say it's gross, because I wanted them to have this reframe and this conversion from disposables to reusables. So early last year, when I came up with the idea, I started researching what the difference of them was and how I could use that in my marketing to make mainstream women think about the reusables different. And the gross that I now refer to is the 200,000 tonnes of menstrual products hitting UK landfills per year. And I always say, if you think about how small a tampon is or how small and thin a pad is, what the hell does 200,000 tonnes of weight look like as a visual? I mean, that is a lot of menstrual products. So now you've got the visual, this mountain of used menstrual products. That's pretty gross. But then if you think that it's holding all this menstrual blood and that it's going to be sitting there emitting stuff into the atmosphere for the next 500 to 800 years. So every year in the UK alone, 200,000 tonnes of menstrual waste hitting the landfills every year, building up, and they're taking 500 to 800 years to decompose. I mean, do you think that's gross? I think that's pretty gross. Another gross thing is that people are still flushing them. I think there's not enough education to say if you are going to use disposables, don't flush them, because currently 4.8 pieces of menstrual waste is being washed up per 100 metres of beaches that are being cleaned. So we know that these menstrual products, not only are they sitting in landfill, they're also swimming around us if we go in the sea. And not just that, but all the sea life are, wading through used tampons. That's gross, right? So those two things are gross. What else is gross? Okay, so in the UK, they don't have to put the ingredients of what's in the pads on the packets. There's no legislation to say that they need to share what chemicals they're using that are so ultra absorbent and how they get the pads so crisp white. Testing has been done, various testing, and you could read on the internet that there's up to 3,000 chemicals being applied to the pads to make them that absorbent and that thin and that white. Many of the chemicals are carcinogenic. Also, when the body absorbs chemicals from anywhere, I mean, it's not just pads, but when you consider menstrual products, we use them every month for a week at a time, every single month. That's quite a lot. In the most absorbent part of our body, our vaginas, our vulvas. I don't like that word vulva, I've got to say. I'm not a lover of the word vulva. Got that out there. Anyway, you know, we're sitting on them for a week, a month. So when the body absorbs toxins and it doesn't know what to do with these chemicals, it turns them into hormones. So whatever chemicals are in the pads, they can have a direct effect on our hormone levels, on our periods. I've heard that they're going to be doing testing, or they've started trials to see if the disposables are having an impact regarding infertility and endometriosis and problematic periods, whether all the chemicals that they're using are disrupting our endocrine system so much that they're causing all these problems as well. So I don't know, but you know, that's out there as well. So on my research, when I started doing the pads and what I started finding out about disposables, I actually think that the disposables are really gross. You know, the tampons have microplastics in them which are being absorbed into our bodies. Toxic shock syndrome is real. If you insert a tampon, you have to take it out within 4 hours. There's a chance that it could kill you ultimately. That's dangerous. There's something in there that has the ability to kill you. That's pretty gross, you know, and I think it's about weighing up the grossness, weighing up your personal impact on the planet regarding the landfill, and weighing up the your personal health, your feminine health regarding the absorption of whatever is going on down there. Also, the pads aren't, one packet of pads has 4 carrier bags worth of plastic in it. You're sitting on that. It's not breathable. Your old vag can't breathe, so it can cause all kinds of irritations and thrush and all the nasty stuff. That can all be caused as well from the fact that it can't breathe for a week, a month. It's just like, ah. So that's pretty gross. What else do I think is gross? I think the fact that disposables are being sold so blindly without all this evidence attached, that's pretty gross. I think that they have a duty to be more transparent to us as the consumer, so that we can purchase things with a more informed choice, which is why I'm talking so much about this, because 100% I genuinely have no issue with you watching this video and saying, no, you're all right, I'll stay with my disposables, because that is an informed choice. You know what you're buying, you know what you're spending into. My issue is that people are just blindly using this stuff without an understanding about what it's doing environmentally or what it is doing to you physically. And then now knowing that knowledge, being informed enough to make the choice to switch to reusables and moon cups, or just menstrual cups in general, any kind of reusable menstrual product. Also, I think it's gross that every single month we have to pay out for pads. Literally, you're just going to pay out, what, 5 minimum, 10 a month. Just go and burn that, because that's just going to all go in the bin or on the landfill. Whereas reusable stuff, you got it, they can last up to 4 years with a good stock. You know, you don't have to shell out every single month because you're having a period. Of course, it's nice never to run out. We've all done that mad dash to Tesco's with our pants stuffed full of tissue because we've run out again. Don't get that with reusables. And one of the biggest things about this whole kind of eco-curious movement, of which I'm just stepping into as well, look, I don't have all the answers, but what's really interested in the media, all the focus has now been shifted to recyclable. So as consumers, we're all going, oh, it's okay because you can recycle it. Well, yeah, that's brilliant. You can recycle it, and that's a massive step forward. But we can't eradicate all of the work and energy that it's taken to manufacture the product that is then ultimately just going to be thrown away and replaced. So the thing is about reusable everything that you can buy that's reusable, you're also stopping all the manufacturing of these disposable convenience products. So it's just not as easy as just recycling, because actually the manufacturing, we manufacture in the UK, by the way, but you have to factor in the manufacturing. Is it sweatshops? Is it good ethical working conditions? Are they ethical materials that they're using? All of that before you've even bought the product that can then be recycled. So My genuine rule for thumb now, even though I'm just stepping into this whole eco-curious arena, is whatever you're going to buy, I mean, if we're talking about fashion and stuff like that, it's a whole nother conversation. But when you're thinking about your reusable, your disposable anything, wipes, cotton buds, teething floss, I don't know, anything that you buy as a one-use purchase, can you get that as a reusable option? Because then that cuts out all the manufacturing. And often when they say it's recyclable or it's biodegradable, it will come with certain conditions that it has to be. For it to break down properly, it has to be in these conditions. So it's not always as easy as they say. So just cut the middleman out and just buy less convenience and disposable stuff in general. So there you go. But I have got a pad here if you want to see one. Oh, I've only got my samples. My other ones are downstairs, but basically these are our pads without that tag now because I've taken that off. But you know, reusable pads, they're not as scary. If you want to see more of the reusable pads, go and have a look at my grid. Obviously, I'm always sharing the photos. This is the side you sit on, and this feels like just knick a gusset. You know, when I chose this fabric, I wanted it as close to your underwear as possible, so you didn't even feel like you were wearing anything. It's got wings, so it attaches like a normal disposable. It's got an edging so that it reduces leaks. It's shaped to your body shape. I mean, any questions you've got for me, please just DM me. I'm happy to answer any questions. But on the highlights of my bio also, there are a frequently asked questions tab. There are a reviews tab, which we've had wearer trials. So they're all the reviews back from women that have worn our pads. But any other questions, please just hit me up. But when you hear somebody else say, oh, that's gross, maybe now we can pass on our education like I am with you and just say, well, it's pretty gross when you consider what the disposables are doing to our own personal and planetary health. And try and reframe that word gross, because they're really not actually, they're just not that gross at all. Anyway, thanks for watching. Any questions, hit me up, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye now. Goodbye.